Chaps, I've got Ollie. Ollie, you messaged the page wasn't that like less than a week ago, wasn't it, or something like that?
Yeah. Starting a week, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're just like, right, okay, I want to do half a marathon. I want to do it with 20 kilograms on my back. And when people do that, I'm like, okay, this is cool. Maybe he wants to demonstrate the weight and burdens what men want to do. And when I went back to you and went, well, why are you doing it? Because the thing is with us as fundraisers, we're grateful for any penny, especially at the moment. It's hard. So any financial help is literally a godsend. But we're more we're more focused on why the person is doing it and what awareness and what outcome they can get from it. If I've made sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But
I think my message was pretty to the point. I think I said I'm an idiot. I like doing stupid things to push myself,
yeah,
and I think um, I've done one marathon before. As you can see, I'm not the natural runner that people would perceive to be,
yeah,
but
you're not built for a marathon, man. You're a bit
I'm,
big.
I'm definitely not built from it. No,
Yeah,
no. Yeah. It's. I've always had a bodybuilding background. I've done fitness modeling. I've had a very interesting career life.
yeah,
Um, I've done spanned modeling, performing. I've got a health and safety company. I've got a health and wellness company. And stuff like that. So I do have a very collective background when it terms of the amount of industries that I've worked in.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, in terms of my physique, I am an out and out bodybuilder. I
yeah,
love lifting weights. I, I I do a lot more cardio now, but once upon a time I never did.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, for me to do a half marathon um, is going to be challenging.
It's going to
But
be it's going to be a struggle, especially with 20 kilograms on
yeah,
the back.
yeah. So I actually started training this week.
Yeah,
So I've done three 2 kilometer runs on a treadmill, basically just to get to see what kind of pace I should be going at,
yeah,
but also having obviously the burden of the weight on my chest. I can't breathe like I normally could do if I was
yeah.
just running. So I just needed to test it out. It's going to be interesting.
Well, good.
So
Well,
yeah,
no,
but
good.
as I said, I love testing myself. I love pushing my limits to see what my full potential is.
Yeah.
And this is definitely going to do that.
Well, do you know what? I did this in a video yesterday. We were talking about wild camping and survival and all this kind of stuff. Like, I'm an avid wild camper. Obviously, I've always got the landowner's permission before people
Yeah.
we're into it. There's a charity cover, but I personally think as men, I guess it is a sweeping statement. I think we lose as human beings, probably men as well. We're losing the ability to test ourselves and know what we're actually capable of.
Yeah.
Like when I
Yeah.
was speaking to my wife, she was like, "You're not worried about falling off the side of a mountain?" I'm like, "Well, I know the risk is, I know the risk is there, but I know that I'm capable of climbing up that shit, that wall near enough like that, and I know that I can survive in like -10
Right.
in
Okay.
a
Yeah.
tent. Do you get me? I guess it's pushing ourselves to the limit and knowing what we're capable of, and I just think more so as men we're losing that. I think,
Yeah. I think from many people don't know their full potential
yeah,
because from a physical perspective, we know how to push ourselves, but your body will only go to where your mind is capable of knowing where you can go.
yeah,
So this is kind of like why people need to work on their mental mindset just as much as their physical appearance or strength or fitness. Because you're say if you're in the gym and lifting a certain weight, if you say in your head, right, I'm going to do 8 reps, you're going to fail at that 8 reps
yeah,
if you're pushing yourself. But if you don't give yourself a number, you'll be able to get through that thought process of, oh, I can't, I'll hit that 8 and then that's me done. You
yeah,
might get that to that 10 or you might get to that 12. And that's simply down to the fact that your mind, you're not telling your body, I'm going to fail at 8 reps. It's kind of like it's the perspective of I can do this. I just need to tell my body that it can do it.
yeah. No, absolutely. So Can I just go backwards a little bit? So, why? Because obviously, you want to help fundraise for MANUP, and yet again, always welcome for that, mate. But yet again, I don't want to brush that off. But for us, that's not the focus.
Yeah,
It's just bloody helpful. It helps us run, so massively appreciated. But why did you? You just don't seem the type. I'm being massively judgmental. You don't seem the type
yeah.
to want to do. Why did you choose a men's mental health charity?
Um, I've had mental health problems.
Okay.
So six 6 years ago, I took myself off to commit suicide twice.
Wow.
Fortunately, it didn't happen. I didn't go through with it. I was going through a lot, so I think a lot of guys, they have this outer shell, that
Yeah.
an air of confidence that they hide behind. In reality, the voices in their heads are saying something completely different.
Yeah.
So I am a perfect example of that. So 6 years ago, I owned a West End show. I performed in the West End 4 times a week. I was on a theatre show,
Wow.
performing in front of thousands every single show. I've done Britain's Got Talent. I worked on Magic Mike, the first Magic Mike film, because I was Channing Tatum's lookalike for that
Yeah.
film. And from the outside world, I was living the life. I had a massive smile on my face
Yeah.
and life was good. But I was going through the years of doing the performing and the show, my personal life was taking a downturn.
Yeah.
And although I had this massive smile on my face when I was on stage, as soon as I came off the stage, that smile went and I went into my shell. And I was simply hiding behind the character that I had on stage, to the point where I just wasn't, I was closing off and my physical appearance was changing. So obviously I needed to look the part, and
Yeah.
I was training 24/7. I was doing a 2 hour show 4 times a week. And uh, because I was in under so much stress, because I wasn't talking up and I was just keeping it to myself, I was losing muscle. I was adding fat because my cortisol levels, because I was so stressed, was going through the roof. So
Yeah.
my body was basically breaking down the muscle and storing my body fat. So I was doing the complete opposite of what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
That was up until the point where I actually opened up to my girlfriend, who's now my wife.
Yeah.
And
Congratulations.
thanks. And my background with my parents and my family, we are close, but we don't open up. I can't remember a time when I was a kid that my mum and dad said that they loved me. I knew that they did,
Yeah.
but I don't remember a time of them actually saying, "Oh, love you, Ollie," or something like that. We are close, but not from a verbal perspective. So that's always been me. I've not spoken up, I've not opened up or anything like that.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where my girlfriend Charlie at the time said, "You need to tell your parents," and I just couldn't. I couldn't verbally say it to them, so I wrote a letter. I got my mum and dad with my sister and her husband over, and literally just handed them the letter. As they were reading it through, I literally all the emotions of the last 18 months before that came out, and I broke down. And they all stopped reading the letter, all came around, gave me a hug. And once I kind of like got myself together, they finished the letter, and then that was kind of like the first step of me getting sorted. I ended up going to therapy once a week for 6 weeks, I think. But then I was continually doing what the therapist had told me to do in the sessions of actually talking and stuff. And it wasn't easy after doing the therapy,
Yeah.
especially because for me, I do find it hard to open up, and I
Yeah.
still do. I'm not perfect.
Oh,
Um,
mate, I run a mental health charity, and I'm still
yeah, yeah,
just as bad as
yeah,
other blokes. Yeah.
yeah. But I think it's the one thing that I got out of it was that if you are struggling to open up and talk, then write a letter and just hand it to someone close,
Yeah.
like your other half or your parents or siblings or whatever, or even a best mate,
Yeah.
because that is the first step that you need to take, and that's the hardest one.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Wow.
So yeah,
I wasn't expecting that.
yeah, there you go.
So,
And that's the thing, because when I post about my on social media about my story and stuff like that, a lot of when I first did it, a lot of my old friends and a lot of people that I was friends with on Facebook and my followers and stuff, they never thought it would happen to someone like me,
and that's
because
the
I'm, yeah,
yeah, but that's the I don't know. I'm starting to point at you now, so I apologize. But that's I'm very much a fiddler. What people can't say, I'm very much fiddler while I'm focusing. But
yeah, I use my hands a lot for talking and stuff as
yeah, no,
well. So
exactly
yeah,
that. But but that's the, in my personal opinion, I guess that aligns with MANUP as well. That's what's wrong with when we look out for people with mental health problems, issues, illness,
yeah,
whatever. And this is the thing: they are complete mental health and mental illness are completely and utterly different things. One escalates into the other. But I'm a CEO of a charity, and I've just said to you less than 2 or 3 minutes ago, it's just like, you don't look the type.
yeah,
And even
yeah,
the people in your groups in your actual direct life are like, okay, I didn't expect that. And I think that's the problem more so with men and men's mental health, is we're looking for signs what aren't there. Like even with me, when I
yeah,
used to be a car insurance salesman, which I was actually really good at it actually. But even with that, I was one of the top performing agents. But when I was going home, I think it's when I started MANUP, and they were just like, "Oh, I was working with you then. You seemed fine." I'm like, "No, it's because I was
yeah,
in salesman mode." And it's what you're saying about with the acting and the theatres and all this. Like, I used to DJ. I've done like Ministry of Sound, Camden Ballet, Bagley's, all of those super clubs. But I went in as the DJ or as the MC, so I could put the
yeah,
fun.
exactly. Yeah, you don't have to be on a stage to have a character that you hide behind.
That's a valid
It
point.
is everyday life. I only started performing when I was 30, 31. Kind of went through a transformation in my late 20s that
Yeah,
completely changed my life around. Ended a 9-year relationship, got into a extreme good shape, completely changed the pathway of my career and stuff like that.
yeah.
And I've had some amazing experiences from doing the TV and films and stuff like that. But behind it all, I was, from a mental aspect, I was still the same person that was obese in his 20s.
Is that the
And
body? Is that body dysmorphia? Is that along?
yeah, and to I think every single guy that goes into the gym, whether he's a beginner or he's been doing it for 15, 20 plus years, they will always have certain forms of body dysmorphia, because they won't compare themselves to anyone else that's their size. They'll
Yeah,
compare themselves to people that are bigger or that are fitter. And from being in the gym over and over, so I started going to gym when I was 16 years old, and as I said, I turned 41 this month.
yeah.
Um, I've been in the gym a lot, and I'm never gonna be 100% happy with the way I look. And I think that's a lot of people, a lot of guys that go to the gym are in the same position. But
Is
again, that's the mental mindset to it.
is that your head, or is that social media or life?
It's definitely, social media does not help,
Yeah.
100%.
Comparison, isn't it? We're forced to compare against other people
Yeah,
constantly. We can all pretend. I'll get it on LinkedIn because obviously I run a couple of businesses. So on LinkedIn, you see, I don't compare myself on social media. It's like we all do because we're built like that.
we all do. Yeah, to a certain extent, we all do. Yeah, and for the guys that go to the gym and they compare themselves to all of these influencers that 100K plus followers or whatever, I will tell you now, it's not a stat, so don't hold me to it, but 90% of the influencers that you see that are absolutely shredded, they've either done two things. They've got into incredible shape for a 2-week span and done photo shoot after photo shoot after photo shoot and used all of those photos for the rest of the year.
Doesn't surprise
So
me.
they're not in shape.
Yeah.
And also, you have no idea what kind of drugs they've taken to get that in that shape. Plus also how often they've taken them as well.
Well,
You'll
it's
be
funny.
absolutely amazed at how much people are taking these days.
Well, it's funny
Um,
because I'm a massive fan of. There's a YouTuber called Leon Lush. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He's interesting.
I've had a name.
He just takes a piss out of absolutely everything. He's a bit
Yeah.
controversial sometimes, but actually he's well. He's chewing gum for the brain.
Right. Okay.
But
Yeah.
he did a video that there's a bodybuilder and his diet is in America. His diet is he just eats raw meat. He was
Right. Okay.
I've forgotten what his name is. I'll have to. Obviously, I'm not going to share it on thing. I'll tag it on a
Yeah.
thing. But everyone was like, "Oh, he's purely net," and he is huge, and he's got so many young male followers of just like, "Oh, you're awesome. I want to be like that." And then he made a video. He got called out basically because they were just like, "He's been taking steroids," and he ended up admitting it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so but
But yeah, that's the thing. I have no problem with steroids or enhancing drugs or anything like that. If you want to take it, go ahead. Be careful because it does do very detrimental things to your body also. But at the same time, all of these influencers need to tell their followers what they are actually on,
yeah,
because the way influencers work is that they do cheap programs that are get in my shape with this program, sell it at what, 20 quid, and then they get thousands of people buying that one program, which is a copy and paste
yeah,
that you can get off of Google.
yeah.
It is literally it's not anything special. You'll find that the people that are in the best shape do the same thing over and over again. It's about consistency, not about a magic pill or a magic
Yeah.
exercise or anything like that. It is literally you have to stay the course.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think it goes back to maybe that's before before I hit the record button. It goes back to that mindset, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
Just
absolutely. What did I say? Yeah, it was so your physical body will be able to do whatever your mind will tell it to.
yeah,
So before we started the call, we were talking briefly about the amount of reps that you personally think you can do. So if you say you can do 8 reps of say a chest press with a certain weight, if you're pushing yourself, you'll be able to get that 8 reps out. But if you didn't tell yourself, right, I'm going to do 8 reps, I'm going to go for as many as possible, maybe you'll be able to get that 10 or that 12 reps.
yeah,
Your body will always follow your mind.
yeah,
And that's why I truly believe that people need to go to therapy for their mind and focus on their mind just as much as they focus on their body. I heard an incredible quote. I think it was on a Joe Rogan podcast. And he was saying, you wouldn't go to the gym when you're injured. Sorry, you wouldn't just go to the gym when you're injured. So why do you go to therapy when you're having mental health issues?
well, okay, yeah.
So what I'm saying is you go to the gym to be physically fit. So why not go to therapy to have a strong mindset?
Oh, right, okay, yeah,
Why
yeah,
why wait until you have starting to having some issues to go and see a therapist when you can do it on a consistent basis, even if it's like once a month or once a couple of months, just to refocus and reset your mindset.
yeah. No, absolutely. So I think maybe it's the way I heard it the first time. I was just like, "What?"
Yeah.
But when you said it, I was just, I don't think I can agree.
Yeah, I was trying to quote whoever said it on the
Yeah,
podcast
no,
I was
no, it's
listening to.
absolutely cool.
But basically, yeah,
That's what I was like. Obviously, try and give you a chance. I'm just like maybe
yeah,
you just read that. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about there. I was like, I can't agree with
yeah.
that. But no,
So obviously,
you're right. Yeah,
yeah, you go to the gym to be physically fit.
yeah,
So, um, from in terms of if you get physically injured, you wouldn't start going to the gym then to try and fix it.
yeah. No, absolutely. I totally not agree. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So why do the same with therapy or speaking up or even just reading or listening to podcasts that can grow your mind
No,
and
exactly.
the
Yeah,
strength of your mind at the same
yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So just moving forward then. So obviously, it sounds like you've actually been through quite a lot in the brain, in the head.
Yeah.
How do you stop yourself from falling backwards again?
Keeping busy and keeping moving forward.
Yeah,
Um, one big thing that I've learned is that you will never fail. You'll just learn a lesson.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah,
That's kind of come from the gym,
yeah.
because I know obviously I keep going back to gym analogies and stuff, but that's kind of that's my life. I live for the gym, but it's if you fail at a weight, it just means that your body's not quite strong enough to get that weight. But then you try over and over again till the body adapts, so it can then lift that weight.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I think
Yeah,
it also where it sounded like you was apologising about keep talking about the gym. But to be honest,
yeah,
mate, do you know what? If it works for you and stops you going off the rails and being depressed, or if it just helps you, I'm sorry.
yeah,
Is other people like myself? It's easy for him to say. Well, if it works for you, then it is easy. It is easy to say.
yeah, and
Like I was going
yeah,
to say,
go on.
like with me, I love going on like a 20-mile hike sometimes, and I love sleeping in the sleeping in the snow while camping. Do you get what I mean? Because that works. That works for me.
Yeah, it's good for your mind. And actually, I was listening to, I don't really listen to Joe Rogan that much,
Yeah,
because it is very American in terms of what they talk about.
yeah,
But he was talking to, I forgot who it was. But anyway, he said that there's a research study come out of from South Australia University, and they said weight training is 1.5 times better for your mind than any medication or therapy.
that's quite a statement.
That's that's come from South Australia University. They've done research and they've said it's 1.5 times more effective or controlling your mental health than any medication or any therapy.
Wow. Obviously, as a charity, I can't really comment on that, but
No, 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 no.
but
This,
this is why, as a charity, we don't give advice. We always let let you guys do it.
yeah.
So I'm going to
So
research. I'm going to research that one because I'm the kind of person I
yeah,
like to. Funny enough, just before we draw to a close, because bloody hell, I've flown through that. I'm reading a book at the moment. It's called A Sickening Mind.
right, okay,
Oh, I'm going to be really, really good. I can't remember who the author is. It's on Amazon. I'm a Kindle junkie. Do you get me? It's called A Sickening Mind. But do you know what? It's really, really good. It's basically talking about stats and figures of where we've convinced our mind has convinced our body's sick.
right, okay,
And
yeah,
it's based on it's based on data. It's based on data going back years and years and years. And it's really obviously sickness is a thing. Let's not pretend that cancer is a big thing, whatever.
yeah,
But there are
yeah,
some bits where if our mindset isn't in the right place, our body gets sick. And
yeah,
actually, we
yeah.
don't need to read a book about that, even though I can I highly recommend this book. But it's just got to try and keep our brains tip top.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
And
and
that's hard.
I, another book that really helped me was The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. So basically, his story was he was one of the top salesmen in his company across America, and he got into a car accident, and he was given a 5% chance of survival after this operation, and he said 5% is enough. All I need to know is that I have a chance, and from him having that mindset, he made a complete recovery.
Yeah, exactly
So
that.
as long as you have a chance, even whether it's 1%, there is still a chance. And it's down to your heads to actually keep that belief and actually focus on what is going to get you to that 1%.
Yeah.
You may fail a lot of time and time again, but you only fail if you quit. If
Yeah,
you learn a lesson, if you learn a lesson from something that you haven't quite hit, then you'll always move forward.
oh, absolutely. Yeah. So just before we call it a day then, so if someone's watching this, oh no, let's change the question a little bit. If somebody's watching this, they're just like, oh, them two, it's easy for them to. They're sitting there and they can't they can't even go for a walk. And I've been there, do you know what I mean? I can't even leave the house. But what would you say for them to do?
Um, write that letter.
Yeah.
Write something down. It doesn't have to be in perfect English. It can be bullet points. It can be exactly how you feel. but at the same time, actually realize that when you write something down, it comes out of your head onto paper, and seeing something will automatically make you feel better, because it's kind of like telling someone, but you're just telling the paper rather than an actual person.
Yeah.
And that was the hardest point for me of not being able to talk to someone. But that was, and I think a lot of people, a lot of guys do have that element of an issue with not opening up.
Well, that's something we're trying to remove, that stigma of
yeah, exactly.
the term man up, isn't it, really? So, but anyway, that was a good call, mate.
Thank you. Yeah, enjoyed it.
Let me do the button.
It's good.
1 second.